Right now, as you sit in this room, a massive wave of kinetic energy could be passing straight through your body. Human hearing has a strict physical floor. If a sound wave cycles slower than 20 times per second, or 20 hertz, your ears simply cannot detect it. Once the frequency drops below that 20 hertz threshold, it becomes infrasound, and your brain's auditory cortex stops processing the signal. But a wave doesn't disappear just because your ear stops listening. The kinetic energy driving that wave is still moving through the air. At this point, what we classify as sound becomes pure, invisible mechanical pressure. If we can't hear this massive pressure change, how exactly does the human body process the impact? You experience it as physical symptoms. Without any audible warning, this unseen pressure rhythmically compresses your chest cavity, squeezing your heart and lungs. What you perceive as silence is an evolutionary illusion. Your body is constantly absorbing kinetic hits from a reality you are entirely blind to. The lower a sound's frequency, the longer its physical wavelength. 1,000 hertz tone is about a foot long, interacting neatly with your middle ear. But an 18 hertz infrasonic wave expands drastically, stretching 19 meters long to completely engulf the human body. When a massive wave gets trapped inside a confined space, like an office, it behaves differently than everyday noise. High-frequency sounds bounce rapidly off the walls. An infrasonic wave is literally larger than the room itself. This spatial mismatch breaks standard acoustic physics. Instead of echoing, the wave turns the entire room into a pneumatic pressure chamber. Picture the atmospheric pressure inside that room rapidly and violently oscillating up and down. You aren't listening to a sound at that point. The wave is structurally altering the physical environment around you. Every physical object in the universe has a resonant frequency, a specific rate at which it naturally wants to vibrate. Biological tissue has measurable resonant frequencies. Your chest cavity and lungs sit in the 5 to 8 hertz range. When an external infrasonic wave perfectly matches that range, it forces your internal organs to violently oscillate in sync. These massive waves are generated constantly by large commercial HVAC systems and industrial wind turbines. Through a process called acoustic coupling, the kinetic energy from those massive machines transfers cleanly across the air and directly into your viscera. When your organs start vibrating without visible cause, your nervous system panics. It interprets the vibration as an internal attack, triggering hyperventilation and a severe spike in your heart rate. The human body acts as a broadband mechanical receiver, taking a silent acoustic event and tragically misinterpreting it as an invisible biological threat. In the 1990s, an engineer named Vic Tandy was investigating a laboratory that his colleagues believe it was haunted. The staff there consistently reported a sudden, overwhelming sense of dread, cold sweats, and blurry gray apparitions manifesting in their peripheral vision. Tandy eventually found the culprit. It was a newly installed faulty extractor fan emitting a continuous silent hum. That fan generated an infrasonic wave at exactly 18.98 hertz. As this model shows, that frequency perfectly matches the resonant frequency of the human eyeball, forcing the ocular fluid inside the staff's eyes to rapidly vibrate. Those micro-vibrations caused visual smearing at the edges of their sight. Their brains interpreted these shifting gray shapes while dealing with an artificially elevated panic-stricken heart rate. The ghost was a purely biophysical illusion, a hallucination synthesized by an autonomic nervous system panicking over a silent wave it couldn't comprehend. Zooming out from the individual human body to the immense planetary scale reveals an even larger hidden dynamic. Through shifting tectonic plates, deep ocean currents colliding, and severe weather patterns, the Earth itself is constantly broadcasting massive amounts of energy in the infrasonic band. To that natural frequency, modern industrial infrastructure adds its own dense layer of low-frequency vibrations. Our entire species exists completely submerged within a continuous, invisible wash of low-frequency kinetic energy. We are biologically locked out of hearing the most powerful physical forces occurring on our planet. Your ears may be entirely deaf to it, but your cells, organs, and nervous system are constantly absorbing and reacting to this unseen reality. The next time you are sitting alone in a perfectly empty room and suddenly feel a heavy wave of dread wash over your chest, consider the source. The universe is never quiet. What you perceive as silence is just a biological blind spot, shielding you from the hidden baseline of the cosmos.